Hello, this is Clarice, and I am recording today on the 11th of November 2020. It's the day that most shoppers I know could not wait to get here. So, straight from the shower, um, I just have to squeeze as much rehearsal um, in the free time that I have, which will not last, I know. So I have to proceed as fast as I can. Today is the 11th, it's the Tuesday, and the storm Ulysses, it's so, it's really what? It's dampening our mood more than that another bad weather, another disturbance is wreaking havoc in the previously devastated areas. But the governor said, fortunately, that you know they can endure this um, more. Uh, they are more prepared because the Ulysses is supposed to be of lower intensity. So right now, it's as if I am, um, I have connected to the phone number, to the person or to the other line by the number that I am going to dial on my cell phone. So the other party said hello, and I would say, hello, this is Clarissa. And I would say, no, no, no. Hello, good afternoon. My name is Clarissa talaga of Talaga Information and Business Consultancy, calling for Mr. Pedro Pendujo of the Development Bank of Kingdom, Saudi Arabia. So that's a fictitious name, of course. And it's just, I'm using symbolism because it's along this area where I was so misunderstood and the worst interpretation of my words had reigned over the more sensible and what other explanation can there be back in those days. So I am using that name and that connection symbolically again. So I dialed the number, and then the other party said hello, probably citing the office where I have dialed. So, and I would say, hello, good afternoon. This is Clarissa talaga of Talaga Information and Business Consultancy, TIBC, and I am calling for Mr. Pedro Pendujo of the Development Bank of the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia. And then the other party, of course, the most sensible thing to ask would be either it's the wrong number or this is not the right number you've called. And so I would have to check the number that I have dialed or check back my notes and do some research again. Or the other party would say that what is this? You are calling regarding what? What is the purpose of your call? And to that, I would say that I am calling in behalf of the live event production and online information platform of our company. And may I just inform that this conversation is being recorded and that we are on loudspeaker in order to um, transmit the content of our conversation to the appropriate department of our organization. So, doon pa lang, with those words, um, I am already breaking it gently that the call is very consequential. The call has significance, and that it is being recorded I would have to probably elaborate on to be on the safe side whether the recording will be just on the audio or it will include the video. So take for instance, I do not have to uh, repeat or confirm the number that I have dialed because it's already logged in our phones, logged on our phones. So since it is logged electronically, it can save time because we are only given a window of opportunity to be entertained because at this time the mode of communication usually would be over the wires, and so I would hate to be oh you know one of the disruptors in the bad sense, in the negative way. So I it is my hope that the other party will say that what is this call about? Why do you have to record? Why transmit? Why the need to transmit the content of our conversation? And in that, I have prepared the the nature of the calls to save time, so that we won't spend so much time. We won't spend so much time thinking out loud and making blunders and lapses, diba? Because first impression is kind of important. And when I say first impression, the first impression that I myself will represent my name and what I have so far, the legal position that I have earned, that I have worked for. So that's the difference when if I have made this call in times past, because several realities have have been breached. Um, like, take for instance, um, in the Christmas party, whether we're going to hold it or in any kind of reunion, the things that I will mention, the things, the talking points that I would participate in, both as a receiver, both as a listener and a speaker, I can now choose to address the previously gray areas. So the same thing with the calls that I'm going to have now. Take for instance, I would, if I, given a chance, um, if I'm going to be asked to elaborate, I could say that this is a personal call. Sorry, this is a personal call. This is an official business concern. Either a personal call or a business or an official business matter or a combination of both. You know, to give brief explanation about previously sent letters and documents. So somehow there's since I have used a very personal terms of endearment and some very personal narrative, that could I have to explain myself why I would regard it as also an official business matter. So, and then I would also say that I want to forward or an email address or contact number for any questions or concern regarding this matter. Next, my phone has logged your calls as missed calls, and it's only now that I am getting back to you, and I want to apologize for that. I had been so preoccupied, like crazy occupied. All my waking hours had been so engaged. So, and we cannot do this isolated of all the things that I want to be able to discuss with you. So it's not just me answering question, it's also me asking questions. And so me calling would be to make an update report from the last time that I had tried to communicate, or I had forwarded communication. So I am calling because I have reason to believe that a clear, or a less confusing, or a um, I have reason to believe that been there had not been, yeah. The reason I'm calling is because I have reason to believe that there had not been a proper introduction in the past. So that would be an opening. So regarding the correction of errors, I couldn't make this call previously because I do not have in my possession the formal and confirmed cases of wrong information that I was able to rectify as well. Um, and then I would also like to apologize. Um, it can or cannot be, it can be related or not to the report that I have made to the NBI PNP blotter due to computer hacking. So that had been, I don't know the status of that because it's very complicated. It was a complex case. Um, Before they could go on to the investigation per se, to be, they have to ascertain first who was making the complaint or who was doing the reporting. Kasi if I am a person of interest, rightly so, I should be, I should be investigated, wiretapped. My computer should be hacked. My computer should be cloned. My calls should be monitored. And so the police force and the Philippine Investigation Agency should ascertain whether I have the clearance and I have the legal position to make a report and for them to act on them. So the secondary reason that I would be calling is that I would like their principal, because I'm thinking that I am assuming that I will not be able to talk to the VIPs and to the um, persons whom I had written because they were, the top officers, the CEO or the department secretary at the top level of management. And the numbers that I got was the publicly listed uh, contact number where usually the receptionist and the secretaries would answer them. And if so warranted, that's the only time that I would get to be directed, diba, to the offices of the top, the bosses. So assuming that I would talk to the employee or the recipient, the entry level, and I would convey to them that um, their principals should not be unduly alarmed or concerned about the mention of names, to clarify the legal position and statements that I will be making to elevate some of my complaints which are not made directly against them, the principals. So can you uh, um, you know, how should I put it? So that's what I'm doing right now. Actually, I'm having this conversation on my head, in my head, and hopefully, you know, it is not to be a robotic exchange, but um, to save time because I am also human very fallible and prone to blunders and mistakes. So I would not want to, instead of clarifying and correcting the wrong impressions in the past, I would do the opposite. Rather than help, it could worsen, the objective of those calls. That's why I am doing this. So to elaborate some of my complaints, so, um, it's an apology. The apologies are for the mention of the names either on my wall, on papers, on legal papers, or it could be interpreted as name dropping, or it could mean that I have approached common friends and I had pleaded my case to them, and so these things I would like to acknowledge that it is I, and that the names of the common friends that I had approached in the past is this and that, and that I want to give my reason and explain why I did that. So, and finally, I have to be upfront about it. Yes, there is no need to be concerned, to be unduly concerned about the mention of the names. But there is also that serious matter wherein this call is part of the case build-up to ask formally, to be able to ask formally the bank officers and employees who had handled my case in the past, and also the bank employees who are handling my account at this time, to physically identify me, um, from other persons by the name, by the same name. So Clarissa, talaga Garcia, and if so happens that they do not know any other person by that name, can they identify in a group photo, which I am sure, because we share a very small community with them. We have common friends, common connections, like history, past associations. So can the bank employee or personal identify, their client by the name of Teresa talaga, uh, in this group photo. So before I can do that, I have to present the justification or the need for that. So that's how I have been occupying my time nowadays. And also, before I forget, the most urgent reason why I have to make the call at this time is because the very nature of the organization that I had aspired, that I had applied to be a member of, or to become an affiliation and to become a local, um, representative here in the Philippines is that to whom much is given, much is required. The power of information cannot be underestimated. That much we all have to agree about. And so a company like Grab, they can bypass several firewalls, natural and man-made. And they can be, they can invade privacy, and they can talk directly to the consumers through the interface, through the cell, through the cell phone. So even before formalizing it, even before this becomes a matter of a consummated uh, affiliation, I I want to be able to clear up some things. I am not using the interface of Grab to clear my name. I am not using the advantages that a company like that can offer just so that I can run away from any legal action that uh, I am supposed to be. Uh, that's my responsibility even before I have gotten in touch to them. So far be it from me to use that platform to clear up my name. I had been so occupied, and it's like a mad dash to the finish line to become to being the finisher. I had refrained from presenting myself without the the formal clearance that I can stand on with regards any baggage that I can bring to the company. So I want to be able to go back to the offices, to the officers, to the to our elected leaders with whom I had written before to plead for my case, to ask assistance, and without I would be representing myself. I will be I am being forthright about the direction or to what purpose, to what is the intent of the activities that I am doing, the consolidation, the clearances, because I want to be an asset to a company, to a corporation, without the baggage. So there should not be what there should not be an overlap of timeline. I want to be able to be clear on. I want to be able. I want those offices to deal with a private citizen, Clarissa of Talaga Information and Business Consultancy, without the overhanging um, possibility that I would be relying on the advantages, the core of the business of a company like Grab and Tanchong Motor. Diba? So the dates that I have written those communication, although it's going to take time, but it's so very important, and that part, I cannot bypass. I cannot bypass the mention of the dates and the gist of the letters that I have sent. Because in those letters, the progression of my status could be seen. The very first, take for instance, the very first letter that I had sent one government office was because I had introduced myself as the eldest daughter of my late father, Claro Waitalagas. No connection. I was not name dropping. I was not saying anything about my work. Other than that, so I am the eldest daughter. So in the progression of the documents and um, you know, in the course of one term, two terms, that's the there was a progression of how I was able to introduce myself and the credentials that I have in a manner of saying this is me and I am presenting myself to your good office, and that if there had been any question on in the past or in the present with regards any of the documents that I was copy furnishing your big office, I I had been available, for further questions, and you know, um, if formal charges had been needed, Uh, I could be found at home, in my office. So it's those things I cannot bypass. I have to narrate the different milestones, the different timeline that culminated in me applying to become a country affiliate of these international organizations. So yeah, that pretty much sums it up. It's 25 minutes and 30 seconds. My